All right, good evening, everyone. Uh, we were supposed to do, from what Carl asked for, was a Wally wing sedge fly. So when I started looking that up, the first thing I found about sedge fly is cousins with a caddis fly. So at that point, I was like, all right, let's start looking that way. But I could never find anything that was Wally wing with a sedge fly or caddis. So I tried it and I could not get Wally wing and a caddis fly to match. I don't know if Amy's ever done anything like that. I know caddis is her favorite. If you've ever married Wally wings with a caddis fly. No, okay, I tried to and it looked ugly. So I figure we'd do.
I don't, yeah, and the only thing is, I don't think, I think he might have been, only because it doesn't give you the properties that you want for the wings. And again, when you're trying to do a caddis and staying on top, the Wally wings, I mean, they're great. I love doing those, but they're more for us, right? I mean, they just
Yeah, they're
look cool.
decoration.
But yeah, but here's with the like a sedge fly, and you can kind of see, so adding in,
Yeah.
and this is just a pheasant, so it's underneath a caddis, just kind of in the layers, but not with the Wally wings. I kind of wouldn't have any interest to do that because it's just going to actually sit, but it's not going to give it any buoyancy or create, kind of that air flow that you want to keep the caddis on top.
Yeah.
So
It wouldn't look
that was
anything
kinda-
like a caddis fly anyhow. Caddis had 10
Yeah.
wings.
When I looked on YouTube and all that, basically they were showing the same thing. They were saying caddis fly and the sedge fly were basically the same.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, all right, I'm going to do some caddis stuff and just try different caddis stuff and practice with that. And with that, I've always seen Amy catch a ton of trout that way. So it's like, all right, I'm going to practice caddis fly this time. So I guess we could kind of do that. Whoever else wants to join in as well. I could show you what I came up with. This looked kind of neat. So this is what I will do. I don't know if you could see it. Give a little light. That's what I came up with. That I could tie. I think this time around, I'm going to use like blue tinsel. Now, the one thing that I've always thought a caddis looks like is almost, what's the one fly? It's running through my head again. It's Feathercraft has it. It's
Crackleback.
Crackleback. I always picture as a crackleback with deer hair and then a little tail. So fun little dry fly, but that's what I'm going to try. But this time around, I'm going to use some blue to almost kind of be like the blue crackleback, the Bennett blue. So that's what I'm going to try. And then if anyone else, I see John's got something there too. So after I'm done, if anyone wants to join in, they can. So I'll drop that. And I will start. Okay, first I'm going to use just a dry fly hook. This is like a White River, so I'm guessing this came from Cabela's. Size 8 is what I'm going to use.
You go by Cabela's every day back and forth to work, don't you?
Back and forth every day. And then Fridays I kind of treat myself on Fridays where I'm like, okay, I had a good work week. So I stopped through there and just pick up some fishing material, maybe a box of ammo or something, just to kind of just unwind for the weekend. So I'm always there on Fridays. So for thread, I'm going to try a little hot spot on top of this as well. So I'm going to use red UTC 140. That's kind of the thread I like to use a lot. So I'm going to put a quick thread base on that. Anyone get any fishing over this weekend? I know it was really hot, but I don't know if anyone got to get out. Oh, all right, Amy, where'd you go? long time.
I found there's a quarry kind of near me, and so
Oh,
I
cool.
hit that and a couple others. I mean, the water conditions are actually clearing up around here for us, so got up both Saturday for just 2 hours and Sunday for a little bit too. Bluegill and bass are hitting like crazy.
Yeah. Scott and I saw that at Bush Wildlife a couple weeks ago.
Gotta
Going to-
find some flow in water, because with these temperatures, algae is gonna blossom everywhere.
For sure.
Oh yeah, and I mean it was, yeah, probably against better judgment for being standing on the bank. These were not wadeable, especially the little quarry area. But it was fun, and
Amy,
but it was not. I'm ready for moving water.
I
Yep.
mean, you guys take your heater with you in your tent. Do you have an air conditioner? I'm
Nope, don't.
I'm going camping next Saturday and it's supposed to be 102 where I'm going, so,
There is a
Take a
new,
A fan.
yeah. No
I s-
power.
I saw there's some kind of new tent air conditioner now that it's not exactly like the swamp cooler they have, but you put ice in it. And then a little pump or something that flows and it kind of just, so it goes through a coil, but you're not making it too humid with like
Yeah,
a swamp cooler.
I'll have to look that up because I may need something. I've got to work with Game and Parks next Saturday out at one of their events. It's gonna be hot and humid,
Yep. So
but I am
I'll-
gonna get a chance to go fishing and to shoot some more videos, so.
Yep. And we want to see them. So all I've done was added, I used the Bonnie cord again. So I really like that Antron yarn to kind of give some buoyancy to it. But I also kind of went down the hook bend a little bit to give a nice little red hot spot. Now I'm going to put in my blue tinsel. It's this Uni Mylar number 10. And this is kind of what I use for those Bennett Blue cracklebacks as well. Find where there it is. It's fighting me a little bit. It's actually looking pretty cool. The red, white, and blue, real patriotic right now. I actually saw a real cool crackleback that had a blue post with white hackle and a red body. Looked really cool. I want to try that soon. Next thing I'm going to do is put in some hackle. And I've got the Saddle Brown Natural by Metz, and I will do that. This is a number 2 saddle. I'll preen that a little bit. Just give myself a nice tie point to it.
And one of these days, we got to do something and talk about the different types of hackle and where they come from on the chicken.
That would be cool, because I for
years.
sure,
For years, I thought saddle hackle came from a special chicken.
because I have no idea where any of that comes from, and it's interesting to kind of find out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just unthinning or unwinding my thread right now to make it a little bit more smooth body. Bring it to the front. All right, I'm just going to kind of tie this off, half hitch it real quick. And now I'm going to lay in my tinsel. It's a rotary portion of my vise. I do like that. Just doing touching wraps. Lock that in. Anyone else get any fishing in besides Amy? I know it's hot. So I just trim that.
Too hot for me, and I had too much floor stripping to do this weekend.
Yep. I'm gonna put another half hitch in to lock it in, and I'm gonna put it on the cradle again. And now this is kind of a little trick I like to use. I like that bone dry UV cure where I coat the tinsel a little bit, and that kind of helps lock in the hackle where it holds it in. So I just put a little coat on that. Now go back with the rotary. Get rid about there. That looks good, and now I'm going to UV it. Neat thing with that too is that I don't, it's locked in with the UV. Trim the excess. It's pretty good. All right, deer hair. Amy might know a little bit more about the deer or elk hair, as they call it, natural brown. I know different areas of the deer work better. I think they say maybe belly hair is better, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just gonna use this to make the wing of the caddis. So I'm gonna, what they normally say about a pencil, #2 pencil diameter, I'm gonna take a nice clipping of that.
Actually, Mick, I was sitting in on Al Beatty's broadcast one day, and he did say that, as I recall, I may have this reversed, but the hair from the back of the deer is better for spinning heads, and the hair further down is better for tying wings. Now, how you tell the difference between the two, he didn't really get into. So
Yeah, that I don't know. That's still a skill level higher than mine. So I got the deer hair stacker. I'm actually getting rid of some of these loose ones that are going to make it hard. Pack that in. And I'm going to transfer in any loose hairs. I'm just going to get rid of off the bat. Try to measure out where I want that. I think that looks good. That back right there. And measure again. I'm going to do a loose wrap once, twice, then I'm going to start pulling down hard. 3 even tighter. Lock that in. This part's always what I think is the hardest, is trying to grab the ends to cut off.
why not cut them off before you tie it in, Mick? I've seen Amy do that.
You know what? I think you're right. I've seen it probably easier that way.
Yeah, I was looking at one today called Charlie's Hopper, and everybody I saw tying them was tying them and then clipping them first before they tied the deer hair in, so.
Probably a whole lot easier. I would
Yeah.
say after hearing that, yeah.
See, Amy's got that SEG on her face, so we must have said something right.
Yep.
You did, and I'll jump in. Mixed fly's looking good, but I'll show a couple different tricks on a couple different things unless somebody else is up.
I'm
After-
almost done locking this in, and then Amy could help me out.
Maybe
Oh,
not.
I'm sure you can. This is your go-to. Now, if it was clink hammers, then I like that. But I know the caddis is yours, and anytime you start talking caddis, I usually be quiet and listen because I'll learn something. So I'm gonna whip finish this. Just a couple, and I did use a little bit of Sally Hansen to lock it in.
I wonder if
Now,
I can tie a Sakasa Kabari in a caddis pattern. That'd be interesting to try.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, right.
So Mick, on this one, it's great, and all the aerodynamics are working great. Take your thumb to the head right now,
Yep,
smash it on the top part of it where you would tie in. Yeah, smash it down, but go all the way back on your wing and get that wing to flare side to side. There you go. Manipulate that, because once it hits the water, that's the profile you want.
ooh,
So, and now turn it, yeah, because again, you're trying to hit on the water and you're trying to keep it up on top of the water. It's a dry fly. So
yeah,
if you come back after the top part of it and just kind of work your thumb back on it, and you can even, kind of put a thumbnail in it,
yeah,
and that'll help flare that a little bit,
Amy, but
because it's not a parachute. You want that wing casing.
gotcha.
that looks more like a mayfly to me with it flared out like that, Amy. I thought the caddis were very narrow wings going down the back of the body and tent shaped.
You can on some of them, but I think for his and the aerodynamics of that, so he's got some Antron or Bonnie at the back,
Yep.
and then his weight's in the middle. And so if he wants that to be more floated on the surface level, he's going to need that wing to go out.
Okay, I got you. All right.
Does it? And I mean, he can kind of test it and see what it does in the water. If he doesn't like it, ruffle it back up. It'll go straight back up after it's tied in. But I think what you're wanting is that profile as it comes down in the water.
I like
And
that.
if it's too much on the tail portion of that with your Bonnie cord,
Yeah,
Mick, but if it's too much, fish it like that. Don't make any adjustments yet.
okay,
Have your scissors on you and just cut it like a 16th at a time. If
okay,
you're all of a sudden feeling like it's dropping too much on there,
yeah.
But-
Because I was gonna use
Good.
that floating as well on that, and that's why I always like the kind of body cord, because of
Yep.
floats a little, but
it will. Nice fly.
thank you. I was gonna say, oop, Steve, I could try it on my fish tank over there. With my
Yeah, I
little,
don't want to hurt those. I don't want to hurt those guys. So yeah, maybe on a base of water.
yeah. Sorry, guys, they're looking for food. They're two little puffer fish that are basically fat little piranhas. So, okay, that's one. So, Amy, did you want to try one?
No, you're on a roll. I'm happy to jump in if you want anything, or if not, I'm just sitting here and watching what you're doing. I'm cleaning up some feathers.
Yeah.
Mick,
Anyone
is that a
else?
saltwater aquarium you got there?
Say again?
Is that a saltwater aquarium?
Brackish. It's got a couple mollies, but I got them they're called figure 8 puffers. I thought they were cool, and so
Oh,
I got them. They're brackish water.
yeah.
Timmy and
Yeah,
Jimmy.
I had freshwater for years. Finally gave up on it.
Yep, they're there. This is my little man cave, so I got my
Cool.
Timmy and Jimmy there. I could try a different one again. trying to think of a different thing. I could try more Antron.
While you're doing that, Mick, I want to do something for you. If everybody could take a look, I'm going to change cameras real quick.
Okay, I'm gonna pin
I'm
you.
experimenting. Which one looks better? This one or this one? Okay, I'm going to play optometrist. Number 4, number 2. 2? Okay,
2.
that's what Amy said, yeah.
Yeah,
There's 4. Oops, there's 4.
so how many
Oh, well,
cameras do
wait.
you have now?
What are we supposed to be looking at? Just
Well,
you or a fly?
At me, oh yeah, no, here's my fly. That's a carp bug. We're tying a bunch of flies this week and next week for the bonefish tournament, so. That was my
That
first.
one works well for the fly. It works great. For
Yeah,
you
that's
just
that-
talking,
Yeah, that's the
And that's-
camera that you sent to me, Amy, that you recommended. That's the one I've been
oh,
using.
good.
I'd like to get it a little closer, but I'm about 2 inches in front of it now, and that's, if I get it any closer, I can't tie, so. Now, this is my, that's my webcam. And this one is my GoPro. I'm just wondering which one looked best.
I think your webcam works. I mean, as far as, unless you want your background in it, but it seems like it's more clear on the
Okay.
picture quality. I don't
That's-
know. Get everybody
Yeah,
else.
look sharper to me, yeah.
Do it again.
Yes.
Okay,
Do it again.
here we go.
Left or right?
Number
Can you
4.
see this now? Can you see it now?
Can
Yeah.
you see me now?
That's better.
That's it? Okay, thank you.
You need more light.
Yeah, I'm down in the basement here and the sun is shining and it's kind of really screwing things up on me, so.
Yeah, I'm still looking at the one camera that they showed me at Mayfly. That really was a nice camera. But still,
Yeah, you know, it was. I really like that, and it's not all that expensive.
no. So
And
that's,
I like to be able, the ability to lock the focus down and then to zoom in on it. That gives you
Yeah.
some of the
was
ability
a
like
neat one.
the SDRs do now. DSRs, excuse me.
back. Maybe I'll go back to me. All right, I'm gonna try a different one, same thing, but use some deer here for the tail. Well, I'm talking about this because then I want to try with the wing casing more of what we kind of discussed, cutting it first. 'Cause now that you said that, it's like, yeah, you know what? That's how I saw it done. It's kind of flaring on me. That's what deer hair does, so I don't know if I'm doing that right or wrong, but we'll make it work. For the St. Louis folks, we're going to be trying something soon. Ken House was able to get us a place at a VFW hall in Lee May. So we are going to try to have an in-person fly tying event soon. And we're looking at June 27th from 6 to 7:30. And I'll send out an email on that.
That's great.
So we are going to try to start getting back in person.
We've got ours set up for July. We've got 2 of them ready to go. One at the Victory Apartments in the afternoon and then one at Bellevue University in the evening. So we're going to try a hybrid Zoom / face-to-face with Mike Kelly doing the Zoom side of it and see how it works.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because right now Ken doesn't know their Wi-Fi situation. So I'm not sure if I will be able to have the Zoom working while we're
Yeah.
doing that, but I will have everything. So he thinks again, he's not big into all that technology, so he wasn't quite sure if they have Wi-Fi there or not. But we will try. He's
Yeah,
working with me.
Yeah, when we had the rod building class with Game and Parks, we did a hybrid, and Amy sat in on one of them, I think. So that the only thing we needed was their Wi-Fi and a laptop. I carried all 2 cameras with me, and that seemed to work pretty good.
Hey, Mick, at the end of this, tell me a little bit more about the camera you're thinking about getting.
Okay, because I have it on my
Please.
phone. My phone is right next to me. I took a picture of it. All right, this time I'm going with gold tinsel. I don't like how the tail flared out on me, but oh well. We're all still learning.
I found that if you make about 3 really, really loose wraps to begin with, and then make a wrap and cinch it down, it tends to flare less. I'll
Okay.
defer to Amy on that.
This is more just fun time for me. I've got a busy week right now with customers are in, so this is just fun seeing what I could do. No prize winners with these, but I'm having fun. So again, as I said, I will get that email out with information. I can't guarantee a Zoom at the same time, but that'll be the last Monday of this month. And again, with gas prices and everything, if you could make it, great. If not, we all understand as well. UV it again. All right, now let's see if I can do this wing a little bit better. Using the same deer here that I was using before. Just get it off to the side, trying to get some of the under fur out. I will try to give this a cut. I'll do it over the trash can. Couple loose and then pull down. Oop, I think they tried to spin on me. Pull down tight, make sure you have a good grip on it. That looks a lot better. So thank you, John and Amy.
Hey, Mick, you can leave that under.
Yeah, this was some of the straggler deer here.
Well, I mean, but that looks like feet and antenna and stuff.
Yeah. A little Sally Hansen on the thread to lock it in. It's a neat little red collar too.
Doesn't somebody have a theory about some red on some of these things, like eyes and different parts of the, so it looks like it's maybe bleeding and crippled?
I know bass, lures do that. But yeah, the head on this looks 1,000 times better. So John and Amy, thank you on that. Here are
Actually, it only looks 999 times better.
almost 1,000. Maybe that was part of my tying skills. So, so that looks cool. I like that. That looks good. And then I pinched it down, like Amy said. It's got some red and yellow in there. That looks good. All right, cool. All right. Anyone else want to try tying?
What you got, Amy?
I was gonna say, well, yeah, no. Yeah, love to
Does-
die.
Does a bear do something in the woods?
Yeah. So, and again, great conversations. And I think, Mick, also part of trying to figure out what the materials do for you and working through it is part of the whole process. So as you're tying some of them and saying, I don't really like the way this does or whatever, yes, will it fish? Yes. Will it catch something? Probably. But also, how you practice the techniques and what you were doing, you were just watching this. And for the past 30 minutes, you just figured out a whole bunch of stuff for you.
Yes, I did.
Which is really cool. And I don't know if you guys were aware of that happening kind of while Mick was tying, and he was kind of like, well, what about this? All of us talk to ourselves to some level while we're tying. And so anyway, yes, caddis is, and every variation of a caddis is probably one of my favorite flies to fish. And when you start looking at a general term as far as caddis, I don't know, something that floats on top. What's it look like? That's kind of the dealer's choice as to what you make it do. I'm a big one about profile when it hits the water and what it does. So I started, and I'm kind of on a size 11. These are, and I know a couple people are going, what? There's really a size 11? Yes, there is. But anyway, so a real light dry fly hooked on this. And if you can't find that, then maybe just go to number 12. As far as with, again, you want a little bit of length to that. With all of our flies, portion is key, because if you throw something in that's not quite lined up, fish that want to scrutinize will give you that look, and you get bumped and they won't take. So you want whatever can mimic, again, whether or not it's a black fly, whether or not it's anything, a woolly worm. I had a caterpillar crawling up my leg the other day, and I'm thinking I had enough bug spray on that it shouldn't have been able to come within 30 feet of me. But anyway, so I'm going to do kind of same with a caddis style on this. And so I've got my dubbing that I've already added in this. Keep in mind, as you're building this, is kind of a you're building layers, right? You're baking a cake or whatever you want to call it. And I'm putting on my dubbing on this portion of it, and I just have it lightly wound because I want that buggy under look coming in. And so I've built up the taper that I want, and I can always go back and add more to it. On this side of it, I want to take my threads a little bit to the back. I'm using a black thread, but as I wrap those, it's a little bit more candy cane style. And on Hackle, and I thought that was great from John as far as, you know, what part of the, I can show you guys, there's more than you can ever want to go through, but on these, what I like is, I'm going for a thinner profile on my Hackle. When I'm laying this in, I'm taking the dark side to my dominant hand and I'm coming up underneath. And so it's almost at a 45 degree. Wrap that in 3 times, 1 time behind. And so that my Hackle lays at almost a 45 degree. I can get that back out of the way. And I can come in and trim underneath here. If I can see it, I can do that. And from this portion of it too, you can use your rotary. You can do anything you want to as far as with your Hackle. You can wrap your thread up ahead, or you can follow behind, meaning I'm going to come in behind. And so I'm moving with the thread with this. And I don't know, I like to do it that way. I'm going to come in and I'm going to push this in place.
Amy, is it supposed to look like that with the reverse Hackle?
Yep.
Facing forward?
Yep. For this one, I am.
Ah,
Yeah,
think
you can
that's
do it.
why.
You can do it either way. You can start at the front. You can do it either way with this.
No, I mean,
As
your
far
Hackle
as,
is facing forward instead of facing backwards or straight up.
Yep.
Okay, well, you're
Yeah,
tying
and
it to
it's-
Carol. You're tying it to
I
Carol
know.
fly. Thank you.
I'm gonna show you how this is all good. and see, and and a crackleback is actually almost a reverse Hackle. And yet when I laid it in, the dark side was to the hook eye and the light side was the other. But as you lay that in there, and depending on if you start for the front, it tends to lay more towards the back. Just what I like. I like it on this one in particular. Now, here's a couple things. If people say, oh, you can't cut Hackle, right? Oh my gosh, you can't cut Hackle. Yeah, you can. So I'm going to come in, going to give it a little cut there. And what I want right here is this little bit of it. I want that to represent the legs. As it hits the water, I want it to actually hold an air bubble. I want it to do some very specific things. With our lovely, I'm going to give Carl so much crap when, you know, great, he throws out a fly that nobody really ties. And then he's like, oh, but I won't be there. But go ahead and you guys tie it. So anyway, with the wings on the back and different things too, you can use some of your little pieces from pheasant. I think my air conditioning just kicked on, so I'm sure there's one on the floor. But you could add these in. The other thing is don't forget your man-made materials too. So great wing material on this. If you have wing burners, if you want to do something kind of just crazy and fun with it, but it's basically, it's a fabric and yet it's kind of like paper. But you can use something like this, cut it so that you're not just wasting a whole big thing. It's kind of like foam. You know, cut a section that you're working with. And you can see this has some, it's translucent, yet it's really shiny. And when I hold it up, you can see through it. So it's perfect wing material. And on this too, it doesn't have to be specific, but I want something that kind of fits and looks like a wing. So I'm just going to cut this, and I can cut down the middle of this and make it look like 2 split wings. You can do, again, play with it. It's kind of fun. Now on some of this, and people will actually, you can take your Sally Hansen's or a quick dry or something with the other, and you can go along the edges, but I'm going to come in and I'm going to lay this down now almost over the top. And I've got pretty exaggerated on that front end because I want to get it buttoned in there pretty well. And that's where my wing comes into play. Now I can come back in here and cut off all that excess. And since this is going to be the part that I clean up on the head portion of it, I can Come
Is
back
that,
in.
is that gonna help float?
Not really. It's more for texture, honestly, because your wings, if you actually did deer hair or if you did more of a pheasant on your wings, that's going to help because that's going to create, this is a little bit more like on that Wally wing, or when I was saying, I'm not really getting it. It's not going to give it any more buoyancy. Your dubbing and the proportions are actually what's going to help it a little bit more. But I've got all this under part and it looks kind of, you know, again, if I finish this off with a really heavy head, it could be swinging a wet fly in about 10 minutes because it's not going to stay up on top of the water a whole lot. But by the time we finish out with the deer hair, then it's going to give that a little bit more buoyancy and rise. Like how Mick had added in the Bonnie cord and he added on the tail. So that lifts the back end, then the deer hair lifts the front end. It's going to lay a little bit more flat with a good cast. So got that kind of built in. Again, there's all different kinds of colors. You can find it. It's at fabric stores, it's in craft stores, and I don't know what the official name of it is. Something wing material. You guys have seen it too. They sell it in fancier stuff. Like this colored wing material. So you can do a lot of different things to kind of play with it that way too. But now I'm going to add in deer hair and on this, again, with caddis, a lot of times people elk hair caddis. Well, there's people who do tie elk hair caddis, but I like deer hair. So I'm going to come in, grab a section of this. And I like the lighter color. That's purely for me, just so I can still sight the fly. But I do have every color in the book. On these, I use the Primo strips primarily because it gives me the different color variation, but on a gray day and some darker water, I can't see a darn thing. So I go with the lighter. I'm going to clear it a little bit. So I'm going to open up my fingers, roll it in my fingers, put it in my stacker. Try not to deafen you guys as I do this. When I pull out from my stacker, I've got everything lined up. I'm going to come in with one finger. I'm going to pinch it. I've heard this from people who have big mammoth hands and they're like, well, I can't pinch that, right? Well, you can just work your fingers. You're not in a rush, first off. And if something doesn't line up that you don't want, pull it out. Here is where proportion comes into play. And typically we think, well, we'll just put it on there. Doesn't really matter. Here, I do not want this wing to go much past the bend of my hook. So I kind of have to move things out of the way so I know where I'm going. I'm going to position my fingers back on top. I'm going to roll my fingertips forward and I'm going to cut. Sorry, Mick, I have the better man cave. I get a cut and just drop it on the floor.
That's
So
cool.
I know you're like trash can. I'm like, oh yeah, there's no trash can. It's called shop vac.
Shop vac.
So so I rolled my fingers forward. I can cut right up that plane. Now I can roll my fingers back and I'm going to come right in and I'm going to lay that in. I'm going to pull through. So they see how that dandelion comes through and I'm doing 4 or 5 solid wraps on there. And that's it. I can finish it now with my whip finish. I can either push it back and go in front of my hook eye, whichever I prefer, doesn't really matter. Or I can come right over the top and finish it out right there with my, and again, just the wings, it just gives a different profile on there. Do 4 wraps on here, pull it, cinch it. It's done. I do flatten out mine. Again, I think it's just personal preference on, and there I'll show you kind of a little bit with the wing portion going out behind it. Now on this bottom part, if you don't like it, or if you're missing flies, again, carry scissors with you because you can, again, come in and adjust this to how it lays in the water. I think a lot of times it's like, well, I shouldn't do that. I don't recommend it for every single fly. Don't do that to a lot of them because it'll change it. But on this particular one, it does, and you can see how that profile changes substantially to that. So that's all I have.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Anyone else can
Wow.
tie. Go.
No, but I've got a new topic for that I think we ought to introduce.
Perfect. Let's
And
hear
I'll do the first one. We'll call it Stump Amy.
it. Ooh.
What we're gonna do is
Only
we're
if
gonna show-
I can phone a friend, and Jim Stanley is my phone a friend.
You have one call that you're allowed to make, or a
Okay.
text. First,
Okay.
first one, I'll start it this week. What's this?
I can
Wrong
see
with
it.
it.
Um,
There we go.
Let's,
What's
let's,
that?
I'm gonna pin it.
come on.
Bring it back towards you a little bit.
There you go. How's that?
Looks like a pen tip and you're gonna do a globe ball.
It's gonna be either for your strike indicator or your glow ball.
Low ball.
Oops,
Well done.
Sorry, I'm not
Well
Amy.
done. God,
That's
you
all right.
guys are so
I thought I
good.
was still muted and I'm so like, oh, damn.
Glow ball. It's a glow ball.
Like globe ball. Okay, cool.
So push it up there again, John.
Okay, yeah, well, the reason I bring that up is because Mick, I got a new fly that I'm going to tie and send you down some, and you may already have tied it. Called the Mop and Glow,
Okay.
and I think it might work at Bennett.
Yep.
So I'm going to tie you some up and send it down.
I actually have some, but I don't know.
You do?
Yeah, let me see if I got them real quick. Yep.
Well, I tell you, here I think I found something new, and you guys have already been tying them for years. I just feel like a real dunderhead sometimes.
Okay, so let me see if,
So
Yeah.
so the best thing with those, John, and I saw you have your gadget to hold your stuff, and I'm looking around because I haven't tied glow balls in a while. Save drinking straws, but the other thing is save the coffee stirrer straws, because if you want to make micro on that, and what you do with you pull your material through with your threader, and then you cut it, and you waste so little material. It's crazy
this-
that we used to actually go around those with little scissors. Yeah, you
Yep.
make them out of that. Perfect.
Yeah, and you know those cheap Bic pens that you get, if you take the insides
Those
out
are
of
good.
them and
Yep.
run it through, it works like a champ. So,
yep.
but yeah, I like the straw idea. That is a great. Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah.
Difference is you notice that there's a little bit of a red on the top of this.
Oh, I see that. Yep.
What I did, you can see it here on this end a little better. I just took a piece of the material and had two pieces of the orange and a piece of the pink and just mated them together and pulled them through and did that way. You see, you guys have been a bad influence on me. I
So-
never
sounds like- I was
never
gonna say,
spent a lot
sounds
of
like
time
we,
tying flies, and now I'm down here all the time. My wife is starting to get concerned.
yeah,
Is
Well-
that because she's happy or something? Or
Yeah, since I retired, she's been trying real hard to keep me out of the house, and now she's happier than she can be because I'm down in the basement all the time.
I don't know, John, you might have to start drinking.
He's-
It's hard.
hey,
What's
hey,
that so
John,
hard?
John, is the door upstairs locked from the
No.
inside?
No, but she can lock it from the outside.
Hey, Terry, you were asking about the camera. I don't know if you could see
Yeah.
that. Just
Oh, hang on a second. Let me
I'm just
Yeah.
trying to,
write on something.
I kind of wrote down the model number.
Well, go ahead and tell me then.
The model number is HDR dash CX405. It's a Sony Handycam.
CX405 Sony Handycam.
Yep,
The interesting thing is it's only 9.2 pixels or megapixels.
yep.
That's kind of, in this day and age, that's relatively a low resolution, but it just made a great picture.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
Did you get one, John?
No, I can't justify it quite yet because I don't do that much tying on camera, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens this year as we go through as we start meeting face to face again. I may find myself in that situation.
Yep, Amy's got her glow bugs there.
And,
Yeah, that
and
helps.
what's funny, well, what's funny is because you can layer it, like, it sounds like it's gonna be our topic for another time. But you can layer them pulling them through, John. You just
Yeah.
marry all those together and then pull them through with your threader. And
Yep.
so this is my, I shouldn't say this out loud. Somebody's gonna come knocking on my door. So this is my Corona fly. So, because I was like, so I took the white glow bug stuff and then I just kept laying in the red. But anyway, you can do orange, pink, you can make them smaller and you can make them larger. It's really pretty cool because as you tie on something like this, but when we were talking about, you don't have any waste at all or very, very little. So you put it in, you lay this up and you can pull it a little bit, but you don't want a whole big exaggerated portion of it out. You want like a little bit to work with. You cut it. So you can see again, those bright, the orange and kind of, it's really clear. But where I have this pulled measures my whole egg. And so I can come in right behind the straw. So you just kind of lay it over the top and come in right behind it. Cinch it in really tight. And again, you're putting quite a bit of pressure on this. I actually come up here and I'll finish it out and I'll go ahead and whip finish it on here or
So you
at
finish
least
it
lock
before
it.
you pull it out.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Lock it in. I mean, you can move it out of the way because it's tied
Yeah.
into place. Now you advance forward, come out just almost the same portion. Give me a little bit of a fit there. Come in with your scissors. The trick on these, good, sharp scissors, as with
Yeah.
anything, right? But you're
But
going to
don't
come
use your-
in
Don't use your fly scissors because this stuff dulls
Nope.
it like crazy.
right in behind. And there you go. Because it actually makes almost a full,
Yeah.
This one was a little bit fuzzy. It's been laying in the box, but you can see it actually creates a ball to it.
Yep.
Because we used to kind of go through and you'd be like, cut, and everything else. And again, I've already whip finished this in or secured it. I would whip finish it, come back in, and there's your egg pattern.
Yeah, I've been
Very
tying
cool.
those for the better part of 40 years because we used to use them up in Michigan for salmon.
And
You don't
what's
have to
great
worry-
is it,
You don't have people knocking on your door unless you start talking about Trump flies.
okay. Well, and then the other thing is that if you save the coffee stir flies, so of course you can't shove a whole bunch of material through those, but save the little tiny straws. Because if you're wanting salmon clusters or egg clusters, so tie one in, tie two more in, tie three in, you can actually work up a pretty decent size hook on that. But that gives you your glow ball right there.
That's a great idea because, for carp, we use mulberries.
Yep.
And that would work great for mulberries.
And you can dye this material too, John. I mean, you
Oh,
could
yeah.
just natural, or you could actually dye it. But the glow, and I don't have any preference. I know, McFly and all the other ones, the bug. I don't know. There's all different kinds, but
Yeah.
it's a weird. It's like a sweater that's gone wrong. Hate to
Yeah,
say it. It's just
weird.
ugh. It is
Weird
the
stuff.
strangest feel to.
Yeah, it
It
does.
is, and so you can pull this out, but it's like the licorice, in some ways, that you can pull off the little strands. And then when we were talking about feeding it into a straw, so you lay out all the different colors you want, and then I'm going to go through a straw, and I'm going to basically catch everything within my threader, and then pull it out all through the straw. And that's what creates your different colors and the different ridges. But happy to go through those. I don't fish them very often. But they are kind of fun to know how to do. And especially if you're having to go in and buy eggs and you're like, if you knew how to do them, believe me, you'll buy enough material to last you a lifetime.
Yep.
Let me, you're talking about coffee stirrers for the small ones. How big a diameter are those coffee stirrers? I'm not sure and then
Not
how
even,
would you get
like,
it through there?
You have to take your threader and you just have to work a few materials. You put everything in your bundle and then you would go up through the coffee stirrer. You're
Yeah.
gonna have to cut it. So of course I can't go through a whole drinking straw with this, but
Yeah.
a coffee stirrer's half this size,
Okay,
right? So, I mean, the whole thing is figuring out, and you actually want to be able to pull it through with a little
Yeah.
bit of force because you want it nice and puffy.
Okay.
You don't want just kind of a little bit of stuff. So this, again, if I were to pull this out, it would probably be close to two full strands of this
okay.
coming through here. I mean, I want a good amount. The only other thing I can say is check your materials. If you have floating, know the difference.
Yeah,
Because they sell the bug stuff and some's floating and some is not floating. But if you're hoping to sink and get into some deeper waters and things like that, don't use floating.
No.
Know what you're putting through the straw.
Yep.
But yeah, we can kind of mess around with egg patterns. I know there's some really
I'm
good
thinking about for our bonefish tournament, tying up some
Mulberry?
mulberry flies, which look like a purple raspberry.
Yep.
So you want to do that for next week?
Oh, no. I got to experiment first, Mick.
Well, that's what we could be doing, you know.
Yeah.
Like I had to
Plus, if
experiment with caddisfly today.
Yeah.
Plus, if we
I
come
mean,
up
yeah.
with anything good, we can send it to you, John. Then you got extra
Yeah.
flies.
Yeah, there we go. Let me play with it a little bit, Mick. I'll get
Okay.
to you by Friday and we'll figure it out.
Sounds good. All right, I think we're exactly at 7, so I'm gonna officially call an end to it now. Again, look for an email about us meeting in person June 27th. Right now, we're only doing one event to see how it works out. See if we get some participation, and if it looks like we could go forward with it, we'll try to do it once a month and then maybe build from there. And then hopefully eventually at the end of the year, maybe JB will open up for us. So that's all I got for today. Anyone that want to add anything before we say goodbye? Thanks again, John and Amy, for helping with my caddisfly. Much appreciated.
Good one.
Thank you and Margie for helping at the family fishing fair.
Oh, that
Here in
was fun.
Marquette. It was really great.
Yeah, I've got some ideas on that, and I'll talk to you on that as well. Yeah, because we're going to try to build up more flies again. We thought having almost 100 flies ready before we first showed up, and then the pack of kids come through, and then we're tying for 5 hours straight trying to keep up with them. So
Do you have family fishing events down there?
yeah, Pierre Marquette State Park. It's on the Illinois side. They have, it's for kids fishing. It's kind of neat. They have, was about 30 different booths, and the kids have to go through, and they got a little piece of paper and where they could stamp, and we were number 17 for fly fishing, and we were just tying up some marabou feather on safety pins.
Yeah.
But we talked to them about fly fishing and have a good time. And I think if the kids get at least 7 punches or
Right.
7 punches, they get to go to a little trout pool that they have, and they could go catch a trout. Once they catch that, they could go to Illinois Department of Conservation, where they'll actually clean it for them, and then they go next door where they'll actually fry it up for them. So it's a
Mick,
neat
that is
event.
a great idea. We do the similar sort of thing here, and we call them outdoor expos.
Yeah,
But we had never thought about making it kind of a competition. The more you see, the more you get. I like that idea. I'm going to recommend that to Larry Pape, our
yeah, it's a
Park.
big event. We're
Yeah,
just a small
yeah.
portion of it. There's ambulance and police show up and, game
Yeah.
wardens showing their thing. And one of the emergency people came in with a helicopter. So we had kids for a little bit, then the helicopter landed and they were gone. So it was like, all right, give us a break. We're gonna, crunching the hands. It's like we could breathe for a second. But I mean, we were there for almost 5 hours, but it feels like an hour because it's like nonstop. The kids are coming up. We're having a good time. So,
And watch those faces light up when you show them stuff like that. It's just
yeah,
nothing like it in the world.
Hey, John, if
Yeah.
you wish, I will send you the name of the principals at the Illinois Department of Conservation at Pierre Marquette, and they can tell you more about how they put this event on and might be value to you.
That'd be great. Yes, it would.
Let me see if I've got your an email here.
yeah,
Oh,
but
it's simple. John.wright@projecthealingwaters.org.
yeah, but it's a fun event. There's it's just not fly fishing. They even can make their own jug fishing and teach them about different fish. And it's a good time.
In our events, they do bow fishing and actual bait fishing, and
Yep.
they get to throw tomahawks and shoot black powder rifles and all kinds of neat stuff. It's just a big outdoor expo introducing kids to everything that they can do outdoors.
Yep. That would be perfect.
Hey, John, what's that Healing Waters one?
John dot Wright, WRIGHT at projecthealingwaters.org.
I gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mick, did you get my email or my notice on?
Thursday?
Yeah,
Yes, I will be watching that for sure. I've already told my wife, and I know the Air Force customers were calling about, hey, let's do something Thursday. I'm like, Wednesday, but not Thursday, because
tell them to join us. Give them the link. Tell them to come on
Yeah.
down.
they're veterans. So it's
Yeah, that's right.
actually one of them still active duty, but
That's okay.
all right,
We don't
see you, Amy. All right, I'm gonna
All
hit
right.
stop.